Shalom Rastafari, Assalamu alaikum, peace to the kings and the queens of the earth. How's everybody doing this Wednesday? Hope everyone's having a great week, great middle of the week, staying cool, grinding and getting through everything you're getting through, all your accomplishments, all your goals. Hope you're meeting them. Today I wanted to be brief. I just want to talk about a subject that I had written down in one of my blogs that I did last year. It's called Black American Proper Identification, Black American Proper Identification. And recently, for the past probably 2.5, 3 years, I've really gotten back into my Black thought, my Black consciousness, really, not really identification of self, but really at first identifying my people, really going into the depth of history of what was done to us instead of just going to YouTube, watching some program, or finding one source, going to multiple authors, going to multiple sources, multiple historians, really getting to the basis of the facts, not just what we've done or what has been done to us, but one, what we've accomplished through all that, to who we really are. And being in Rastafari, one of the main things that we stride on is the identification, who we are, where we came from, and what we are doing here. Those are the three things that literally, for identification, you have to get to the core of it. And once you get to the core of it, I remember a guy made a statement to me last year, and the more you know, the more angry you may get. And that goes through a lot of things. I mean, the more you research government officials, the angrier you're going to get because you're going to probably uncover some corruption. The more you uncover research on what they're doing to our foods, the more you're probably going to, see some things that don't really match up. And so, at the end of the day, when it comes to Black American identification, once you start really doing the research on who you are and what you're doing here and who your family is, yeah, you're probably going to come a time when there's some slavery, there's some integration, there's some deportation from your own homeland. There's going to be some things that you're going to uncover that are going to really probably put you in a certain mood or have you feeling a certain way. But we have all come from the depth of the dirt and made a way out of no way. And again, Black American proper identification. One is our lineage to Africa, our straight up lineage to the Ethiopia or to Africa or our times. We all know we are truly Africans at heart and in the soul and our melanin and in even our spirit and mind and culture and body. So we automatically have a lineage to African, but we have been taken from Africa and put on a certain land and made to give free labor and free slavery and works and even fight in the military and not get any rights until maybe the 60s and the 70s, and we're still fighting for political things to be equal and social equity and even like financial equity. We are still fighting, and the opponent is still going to keep their foot on our neck until the day they are wiped out. So we were cut off. But some of us were here before Africa. Obviously, some of us people were here, but most of us were cut off. So when we cut off the lineage and they cut off our times, most of us don't really have a complete tribal situation or really know where we came from. I think we really knew as far as tribes, as far as where we came from. I think that would put our lineage to Africa even stronger, creating almost a super nation that no one can handle on the earth, right? Like, there is nothing. When you think about this, there's not too many places where people have been taken. Most people who migrated, they migrated for choice. We didn't come over here by choice. So you take someone from the Eastern Hemisphere with a specific landscaping, put them in the Western Hemisphere with a specific landscape, and we battle through that. I'm talking about environment, I'm talking about different foods, I'm talking about different settings. Some of us, when we came over here, never even experienced cold weather or different type of sicknesses that we had to battle through, and smallpox and all this gross stuff that was being, pretty much passed around because the sanitation was not even close to what it was. And, of course, everything, science wasn't even most advanced at all. So we went through all these things. And when someone says, how do you identify? I identify as a Black because literally that is the Pan-African identification of who I am. And It's a lovely feeling actually to be who I am, because when you look at who you came from the strongest of the strong. If your family was here somehow, some way, they made it through the Middle Passage. Middle Passage alone killed almost 100 million African people. So if they made it through there, through the horrible boat ride and the horrible conditions and the horrible slavery, sometimes for generations upon generations, you're a part of the most strongest lineage of blood passed down by any person on the entire planet. So basically, again, it's a short identification, because I know some people are like, I'm not black, I'm African American, or I'm not this and that. And there's people who don't want to be black. There's Dominicans who are African who don't want to call themselves black, because at the end of the day, there's people who say that being black really puts a target on your back. Being black, you're continuously going to have a hard struggle, and even if you're Spanish, you're in the side, in immigration, you don't really get hit as much as the black American. And I think that there's a reason why. I think it goes back to almost even prophecy. What has been, ordained by God, so to speak, everything that's done to us is for a reason. And it wasn't because of punishment, it was because of the simple fact that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. We were the last. And I'm reading continuous books on every day on this subject about how this was political, how this was scientific. This was war against the black person, as far as keeping us to the point of looking like we were inferior, looking like the one person was superior. The most hypocritical things that I've ever seen in my life, we went through. We were called lazy, we were called sex heightened, or whatever, because we like to make love, and we were crazy. And meanwhile, I will never understand. And I came from a quote from the book also that I'm reading, is a person was like, how can a person go on their porch with a glass of lemonade every damn day, sit there and overlook hundreds of black people who have been in the sun for hours, picking up cotton or making indigo or picking up crops or doing things, battling snakes, battling gators, battling horrible mosquitoes, battling horrible bugs, doing all these things with no water, no food, no nothing. And you sit there on your patio and you call us lazy. And this is what the thing, they always called us lazy. They always they always thought that if we don't, the argument was really that if we don't keep them as slaves, then they're going to just be out on the street and they'll be lazy and they won't do anything. Like we were just dumb people. Meanwhile, we were suppressing and doing and killing every argument on a daily basis. They just didn't like it, and it's to the point where it's getting to the point where you couldn't even say shit about it at all. And so my black identity is me, and I wouldn't want to be born any other person. I remember being younger and having that psychological warfare done on me. Like, man, if I was white, I'd have a better life, or if I was this, I'd be doing this, and almost thinking that, and having a lot of self-hate, and that's what also keeps my community down, is self-hate. We kill each other because of self-hate. We kill each other because of us not identifying who we are as a people. If we were militant-minded, like even in the brown community, right? People don't really get it. They might know that they're different. There's a big difference, right? There's a huge difference, right? Like there's India, there's Pakistan, there's Palestine. Within these countries, there's like 20 to 30 different languages. There's millions of tribes and a whole different cultures and dialect. But guess what? When they all can speak Arabic and come together, and all of a sudden they know they're brown. And let's say you see an Indian person and a person from Pakistan, and they're in the same building. And I'm quite sure if you're racist to one, the Pakistan or the one from India is not going to just be like, oh, he's from India, I'm not going to do it. They're gonna stand right up. They're gonna speak Arabic, and they're gonna come to you like it's nothing. Internally, I'm not saying they don't have any kind of internal struggle, but do you see how that bond? I've seen it happen so many times. I've seen them happen when they don't even speak the same language, but they both speak Arabic, and next thing you know, they're talking to each other, and they're identifying it, and they're making, that's how they can do things, right? They have an internal, almost antenna of identification, whereas we look at our brother sometimes as weak. We look at our brother as competition. We look at our brother and sister as, who are you? And we're constantly almost crabs in a bucket fighting. And there's sometimes we get together, and the only time we do get together is when somebody else kills us, when a white person, or when a white cop, when whatever kills us. That's when we kind of get together, but we don't really get together for each other, right? We're killing each other all 4th of July weekend, and we don't march on that shit. but let a cop kill us, and all of a sudden we join in and stop killing us. So it's hypocritical at this point, for us not to love each other, to sit there and love our identity and fight for that identity, right? This is who you are. I would expect the same thing if a person was Irish, Scottish, whatever. I would expect the same type of passion, same type of lineage, same type of culture. So me being black and identification, to be honest with you, I love it. It wouldn't change it for the world, no matter what my struggle is. I've been through so much. I've seen so much, and that just makes me militantly stronger at any point. And it also wants me to join the fight, right? I don't want to be in a setting where people just really don't care. It seems like a lot of places where I've been, or where I'm going to, I think that I'll be better to be more getting involved in the community. But there's places where I've lived, and it after the pandemic and a few things, and nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares, right? And there's people who will step up and say, "I'm not racist," and they'll definitely join the fight. But after all that's said and done, they really don't understand how many times we get killed by cops, or how many times we even kill each other, or how many times there's so many racial components that are all across the country that are not on camera, or barely caught on camera, or they're getting tossed out by the court. There's cops that are on the street right now that have killed black people. They spend 16 months in jail. They spend 2 years in jail. They spend a year and a half in jail. They're literally going to leave. They're going to go to some town in Iowa. They're going to get a job at a desk, and then they're going to be just fine, right? And they have no fear. They have no really whatever. They can get around a bunch of white people and get protected and get forgiven. So we have to understand that like our lives are also at stake here when it comes to being black. But that's why we need to fight for each other. Hope everybody has a great Wednesday. Thanks for listening.